Did you really want to give the ball back to Josh Allen at that point?
There's plenty of time. We felt like we had a chance. We had a chance. It was early in the fourth quarter. We felt like we had a chance and not give them a short field there.
Hello, Bucs fans. Welcome back to Real Bucs Talk. We are live here on a Monday night. The Buccaneers, just not good enough. Dropped to 6-4. They have lost 2 straight. They have lost lost 3 out of the last 4 games, and have dropped to 6-4 in the NFC. Here, they lose to the Buffalo Bills 44. Yes, 44-32. To 32. And Mark, it's just kind of the same old stuff that we have seen not only this year but in past seasons, where we just go through this lull or just losing games in the middle of the season. And it's unfortunate that now we're sitting here, but at the same time there's still hope on the horizon, and hopefully we can get guys back healthy, because I think the injuries are definitely playing a part. We had another guy go down in Jamel Dean yesterday, 2 plays, and that kind of, that hurt the game plan for sure.
This is all normal.
It is all normal.
Sadly, this is the normal. I mean, it's something we've talked about for years now. It's like expected part of the game. And it almost matches up with our schedule. Our schedule is always hardest in the middle. Right? And does it match up too that we have all these damn injuries? What the hell? And you can't just say it's the Bucs only this year, because it's everyone. But I mean, it's almost guaranteed we're going to lose next week as well. If they win, I'll be surprised. But you take it with what you have. And I said that we're going to lose, so I was going into it expecting a loss. You wanted to win. You tasted the win. You felt like we could do it because we're in the fight the whole time. It's just give up 44 points. You're usually not going to win a game. Let's put it that way. But we'll go over everything. It wasn't necessarily just you score 44 points, you think it's just an awful defensive game. But when you start at the 50 by average, it's pretty easy on the other team's offense just to at least getting in points, not necessarily touchdowns, but points. So there's a cumulative thing that we're going to talk about. It's not just the defense that played bad. Special teams played awful. We all know that. And offense still had opportunities they could have striked, and they didn't. But I'll let you divulge first. Get your jabs.
I mean, when you look at this game, and I think offensively, we'll start with the positives. Offensive line was much better. They pretty much dominated in this game, I thought. The run game was very creative. I thought the infusion of Sean Tucker, the utilization of 21 personnel that we've been kind of hoping for to see more of, and the use of, pulling your offensive linemen, getting things moving to the outside, creating different leverages with your run game, I thought was all good, because you ran for over 202 yards. They did what I wanted them to do, and that is run the ball more than they threw, which they did. They had 39 rushing attempts if you include the Baker Mayfield scrambles, and he did scramble in this game. He had 39 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. You had Sean Tucker with 19 carries, 106 yards. Rachaad White, 10 carries, 51 yards. Both averaged over 5 yards a carry. You could probably say they didn't run it enough. They probably could have ran it a lot more, and maybe in certain situations they should have. We'll get into that. Receiving, the receiving aspect of it, as far as the passing game goes, there were still issues between Baker Mayfield and the receivers. Getting open was somewhat of an issue. Also, catching the football was an issue. Ball placement and accuracy, that's been an issue over the last several weeks with Baker Mayfield, and that's been a big problem. That's something that has to be corrected, especially, you start off this game really well. You have a good drive going, but then you have an unfortunate drop by Tez Johnson. Should have caught it. That was a good play by Baker. He was extending, looking through his reads. He got the ball to where it needed to go. Got to make the play.
Yep.
And then once that play happened, it was kind of a bad sign for Todd Bowles and his game management decision making, because he challenges that play when he knew he was going to lose. Like, that was incomplete all the way. So right there, I was like, I don't know. Todd might not have the right mindset in this game already. And we'll get into the critical situation that you guys heard about in the intro there with the 4th and 2 situation, in which we probably should have went for it. But back to the offense again, just accuracy issues, the red zone. You get an interception to start the game, and then you have the 1st and goal situation. You got to be able to score in that scenario, go up 7 instead of 3-0. And then to your point, special teams was just awful, and the Bills start their second drive from the 36. You end up getting a 3 and out, but the problem is you're already in field goal range, so they have to go for it. They're like on our side. They have to go for it on 4th and 4. And instead, if they were on the other side of the field, they probably punt. Yeah, and it's a new game. So yeah, special teams wasn't good. Defensively, there were still too many breakdowns, especially with the big plays given up. You can't allow a team to go 92 yards in 30 seconds. That's god awful. And then on the Morrison touchdown, the big play, that's just a hell of a play by Josh Allen, and he is an alien. He's a unicorn. He scored 6 touchdowns by his damn self. And I understand why Morrison drifted there, because again, Allen is rushing to the right, and then all of a sudden he cuts back to the left and just throws a rope to the receiver. So yeah, just a lot of things that was irritating, but at the same time, I thought the Buccaneers let one get away, because again, it's the same issues weekly that come up and bite this team in the butt.
And like I said, that's why I thought we'd lose. It's just the inconsistencies across the board.
Yeah.
I thought the defense would be at least something they would have learned from last week. Just eliminate the big play, but clearly not.
Yeah.
Dean not being in clearly shows too, but still, like the rotation of him and Morrison, you're going to see that throughout the year, regardless. I mean, because look what happens. Dean does get hurt. We talked about that. Simply can't string consistent quality football together on both sides of the ball. It's been like this for the past month and change.
Yeah.
It has that, and then add special teams looking like absolute ass to the recipe. What's this?
Yeah, I mean, this is just talking about the mid-season, troubles that we've been going under. And you look at the last 3 years, we've been able to finish strong, especially under Baker Mayfield, 5-1 in 2023, 6-1 last year. Can the Buccaneers do something like that coming up? I mean, the schedule presents itself. And again, we'll probably get into that towards the end of the show, but this is where the Bucs are right now. Injuries have just continued to churn and hurt this team. You have no Mike Evans. That's a huge loss. I don't care what anyone says. That matters so much. And, not having a Chris Godwin, not having Bucky Irving, your offensive line continues to find ways to patch things up, and they actually played really well in this game. Defensively, you're missing Hassan Reddick. That's a huge loss. I know people are like, well, he only had 1.5 sacks, but the guy was doing a lot of things for this defense, and he was doing it at a high level. You need him. Anthony Nelson, after one game against the Saints, is, not the answer. He is what he is. He's a rotational player, and it's hurting your rotation because now he's starting. And then at the same time, Jamel Dean, people were talking about Jamel Dean. It's like, the guy's good. And unfortunately, Benjamin Morrison, as much as I hyped him up throughout the offseason, he is a rookie. And again, rookies make mistakes. So that's going to happen.
Yeah, but defensively, Plus and I have been talking about this. I think when Hassan Reddick comes back, there's going to be a massive difference in what this defense looks like. I mean, Todd Bowles even voiced that in his press conference. He's like, our guys need to win up front, especially on the edge. It's glaring to me that Vita Vea didn't really show up at all this game. That was the biggest concerning one to me. I know Bowles was just trying to prevent the deep pass, play back. Don't let him beat you with his legs. But overall, I think you needed a pass rush. You don't have it. And if you can't expect the guys to defend that deep for that long, it's frustrating. And then Benjamin Morrison, yes, he only played man at Notre Dame, press man. You asked him to do zone, deep zones, deep, like a freaking cover 3 deep zone. That's tough for him to learn on the go. But you know your assignment and you do it. That's as simple as it is. But it's literally a majority of individuals are making individually wrong plays. The McCollum play is the most unacceptable one for me. But
Yeah.
I'll let you touch on that. I got to go address something really fast.
Okay, no worries. The boy is calling you. I'll get into the to the fan chat here. So I mean, as Mark was talking about, you look at it right here by Greg Allman, just the plays that they're giving up. 11 touchdowns already of 25 yards or more. That's not good football. That means you're getting broken down with certain things, and certain individuals are just not doing their job. And I know Mark talked about Vita Vea. Zion McCollum is another one. Like, you paid this guy $16 million in a contract extension, and he's just not making enough plays. I think, obviously Jamel Dean was playing really well. I think Tyke Smith has probably been your best overall defensive player this year. Winfield has been good, but you just got to find some consistency. And even like Servassier Dennis and Levante David. Levante, I think, had a quiet game in this one. He needed to be better. I thought Servassier did some better things in this game. Came up with an interception, which is nice. Got a pressure on that first interception by Jacob Parrish. But there's just a lot of things that are missing. And obviously the lack of pressure, the lack of getting sacks, getting big plays behind the line of scrimmage, that's huge. And when you don't have that, and they were expecting that from Hassan Reddick, unfortunately, he's injured right now. So hopefully they can get him back, in the next couple of weeks, especially down the stretch. It's going to be definitely something to look out for. But I want to get into your guys' comments. Again, appreciate everyone joining us. Welcome to Real Bucs Talk. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. But I want to get into your guys' questions here while I have the moment, while Mark has stepped away. But I'll just bring up the box score here so you guys can see that. Hardcore Hero, good to see you. Also talks about, wasn't expecting to win, but defense, special teams, just wasn't good. And offensively, we had some bright spots. And 32 points, that usually should be enough. But at the same time, when you're facing Josh Allen, and we've seen this, and this is the issue that I have. Good quarterbacks, man, they know how to beat our defense, and that's been a problem. Like, we can't stop the good quarterbacks because you don't have a way to consistently get pressure and maintain coverage, because you have to blitz or do something else. So that's a huge disadvantage for your team. And that is something where it could cost you down the line, especially in the playoffs, as we've seen in years past. They lose because they can't find ways to get consistent pressure up front in the playoffs, or offensively, you're not consistent enough. And that starts with the quarterback, and it starts from there and everywhere else down. It's trickle down effect. I don't know how to say it. Hypeon IT. Good evening. It's good to see you. Hardcore Hero. Yeah, I don't think I think the Bucs were 9-0 when leading in time of possession. The Bucs led in time of possession. I think they had 35 minutes and they haven't lost, and this was their first loss. I want to say usually most teams win when they get 200 yards rushing, but yeah, Bucs were one of those. Mark Magna, good to see you. Baker, he's just got to be better. The inconsistencies with the accuracy has definitely been an issue. Decision making at times has been an issue. The interception, yesterday just came at the worst time because, you had the lead and then you gave them momentum right there. They go and score right away. So that was tough. Those are things that he's got to be better, and we got to find ways to sustain drives. But Cannabis, yeah, I mean, 0-3 out of the bye, that is tough. And that's a good point about closing out games. That is something the Bucs were doing early on in the season, where they were winning these close games or finding ways to make winning plays. And right now they're just not doing that. And that's why the results have been where they've been. And some of that you could say, well, they were playing, lesser opponents in those close games. You beat the Texans, you beat, the Jets, Falcons. You did win a close game against the Seahawks, which was great. 49ers, you had pretty much your complete win in that one. So yeah, I agree with you. We got to find ways to get back to making the right decisions and making those, huge plays at the end of the game. KGH for life. Yeah, this has been a hot topic. Dropping the outside linebackers into coverage. I will say Yaya Diaby, he was dropping out into the flat, and he was not responsible for that receiver that got the big play touchdown. I think it was, Tyrell Shavers, number 14. So he wasn't responsible for that. He was doing his job, and I understand it's annoying to have the pass rushers drop into coverage, but this is just part of Todd Bowles' scheme. It's something that he likes to do: simulated pressures, 3-man, rushes, 8 guys into coverage. At that time, that specific play call, I probably didn't like it there, because I only like to drop 8 when the field is condensed, or if it's like a very third and long situation. I think that was like third and medium, if I'm not mistaken. So I didn't really get it to only rush 3 there, but it wasn't Yaya's fault as far as that. And the same thing with like Anthony Nelson on James Cook. Like, that was just a good play call by Buffalo, and sometimes you got to tip your hat to them. Yeah, no, I agree, Mark. I mean, the defensive creativity is something that is needed for sure. Yeah, Levante, man, he's getting old. What is he, 35? So I mean, he's been playing for a long time, and I think his instincts are still good. I think he still can make plays. Unfortunate, it just wasn't one of those days yesterday, and maybe cold weather had something to do with that. Brian Morrison subbing last week. Not for. Yeah, Jamel. Jamel and Morrison have been, on a rotation. And I think, I mean, it could have been due to an injury. I mean, yesterday was due to an injury. He's got a hip flexor, but mainly they were just subbing. They've been subbing those guys as part of a rotation. So, yeah. Yeah, McCollum that's the thing. Like, you got to find ways to make more plays on the football. And last year, he was, for the most part, last year. I mean, he led the team in defensive pass breakups and was making plays on the ball, being aggressive in coverage. But for whatever reason, his closing speed just hasn't really been there, and being able to get hands on the football has been an issue, and making plays, like making interceptions. That's what we want to see from him. And that's something he's got to step up. But yeah, I appreciate everyone in here. Again, remember to hit that like button. And if you guys have any questions or thoughts, feel free to chime in here. But we'll go through the stats and just talk about, some key points and some things that I noticed. So, Josh Allen, again, 19 of 30, 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Now, granted, the Bills only had, I think, 50 or so snaps. They were less than 60 snaps on the field. And that's crazy. They still scored 44 points. So, yeah, not good. You shut down the run okay. 16 carries for 48 yards for James Cook. Most of that did come in the fourth quarter. Josh Allen, six carries for 40 yards. So you kind of kept him in check, but he was a red zone, threat. He just scored all of them from inside the red zone. And then just look at the big plays, though, here in the receiving game. This right here, Ty Johnson, the 52-yarder. You had a 43-yarder allowed to Shavers, and then the 25-yarder. All those result in touchdowns. And other than that, you did pretty good. Curtis Samuel had that one big catch on 3rd and 11. That was you just can't let that happen. Like, that was your opportunity to get off the field, allow the offense to go up 2 scores and take control of the game. And the Bucs had opportunities to do that. And let's kind of want to go through here and kind of go through the drives, to say the least. So let's bring in, trying to see. Yeah. So we score a touchdown here, go up 17-14. And then you get an interception with Servassier Dennis, right? And we get the ball, and let's look at the drive. So you start off well, you end up getting a first down. And then unfortunately, okay, so you get a 5-yard run, you set up a 3rd and 5. This play right here to Cade Otton, this should have been a first down. Like, this has to be a play where it gets completed. You got to find ways to throw the ball to space and keep those chains moving. And most likely, you either get a field goal to go up 20-14, or you get a touchdown, and it's a 10-point game. But you got to find ways to keep these drives alive, and guys are just not executing. And after that, once you punt, I mean, you just can't. This just can't happen. 52-yard touchdown with 36 seconds left. Just not good. And then there was another opportunity. Yeah, and here's the other opportunity. So you got the ball back up 26-24, and another situation where you had a 3rd and 6. Just got to be better. And that's one thing I wanted to point out. I don't think I have it pulled up here, but the 3rd down situations have been too often. Like, this team averages, I think, 13 3rd down attempts per game, and that's just too much. You can't allow that. You can't have that happen. So the team on 1st and 2nd down have to be better as far as trying to get more yards per play on the early downs and avoid these 3rd downs, or at least try to limit them, because right now your success is just not working as it has in the past on 3rd down, because you just don't have the weapon, the Mike Evans, the Godwin, the Bucky Irvings to offset that. So I think that's a big part of it. Got to be better there. So there was just a lot of just missed opportunities, and this is an inconsistent football team right now, unfortunately. And until they figure things out, hopefully get some injury luck and get healthy, it's going to be a struggle. That's all I have to say about that. Bud Cannibalist, good question. To date, are you okay with Grizzard, and would you bring him back? Yeah, I think Grizzard is promising. Again, he's a first-time play caller. There was a lot of promising things in the run game yesterday. I thought there was a lot of good stuff. But at the same time, we knew Buffalo's run defense was pretty porous. They were allowing 140 yards or more per game. So when you take that into consideration, they should have run the football, and they should have been successful doing it, and they were. I think the pass game has a lot of good concepts. I think there is open players. It's just about Baker finding those guys and reading the field a little bit better. Rashad White continues to be open in the flats. I think there's opportunities for more touchdowns. He had Cade Otton for a touchdown, missed him. Rashad White for a touchdown. Emeka Buka on the first drive. That's got to be a touchdown. Like a more accurate pass, a more smart decision with your accuracy and putting that ball on Emeka's back shoulder, basically at his ear, and allow him to catch that football on a rope and do a toe tap. That's probably a score. So it's just those little details that need to be improved. But I think Canales, there is some like situations where he can, I think, utilize play action more. Play action is definitely something that needs to be utilized every week. So that needs to tick up. And I think every time he's been over 20%, the Buccaneers have won most of their games. I think they were 5-1 when they had play action, over 20%. So I think that's a big factor. But yeah, Cody says it perfectly here. I mean, you don't have your starting offensive line. You're missing receivers that are really good. Godwin, Evans, they're proven. Jalen McMillan is coming on. And then running back one and Bucky Irving. So, and Bucky is such a huge play caller. So, or not play caller. He's a huge playmaker is what I mean. So I think that's important. So yeah, really good points. But I think that offensively, it really just comes down to execution. Guys have to catch the football. I think Baker has to get his play elevated. He's got to be better. I think the OC understands, or at least did better in this game. We're trying to make things simpler for Baker, but got to pick it up. You got to be better. And I think he will be better once you get some of those guys back. And hopefully that takes place this week with Bucky and Chris Godwin likely coming back. So I think that's important. Defensively, like I said earlier, Hassan Reddick's got to get back, and pass rush has to come alive. Vita Vea, Servassier, or not Servassier, but Levante David, Antoine Winfield, Zion, Tyke, all these guys, they got to be your best players every week. And especially when you go against these good teams. So let me bring this back up. And just looking at the stats, I mean, let's go to the team stats because I want to show you guys this. I mean, and you can see like 21 first downs to 19. And look at how many rushing first downs we had. We had 13 rushing first downs. And you were pretty efficient. You were pretty efficient on third down, 9 of 16. But again, 16 attempts. It's just a lot. Like, we got to find ways to get first downs on first down or second down. And fourth down efficiency. And look at the plays, though, 68 to 53. But they still outgain you because of those big plays that you allowed. I mean, 7.8 yards per play. Like, this number has to pick up for the offense. Just still kind of muddy. It's muddy on both sides. There's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up. And you just look at the time of possession, like, just crazy. Like, guys have to be more disciplined. You got to do your job. You got to do your assignment. It's got to be better. What was I going to talk about now? I'm trying to relay the positives because I was pretty negative yesterday, guys, especially when they lost. Me and Mark were texting back and forth, and I was ready to, fire the whole ship. I was like, fire Todd Bowles, Jason Light needs to be better. I was making a lot of nonsense, but I was pretty heated just because I'm frustrated with continuing to see these types of losses because I know this team is better and we have the talent to compete with any of these teams. And like all these losses, Like, we competed with the Patriots. That was a close game. Same thing with Detroit. And, well, actually, Detroit was more of, I don't think we were going to find a way to win that one. They just had us that night. But the Eagles game, I thought, was closer in the second half. I know. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Mark. I don't like speaking bad about Jason Light, but I'm going to try to get to some points that I had yesterday, and hopefully I make sense of it. But yeah, like, you're in these games, but we're just not making the plays. Like I said earlier, just not making the plays to finish them out or find ways to put you over the top. And that comes back to, lack of a pass rush or inconsistent pass rush on the defense, offensively not executing, inaccurate passing, not finding rhythm, when it comes to the offense. So, but what I really want to transition to, and then we'll get into some other things. I don't think Mark is going to be coming back, unfortunately. It looks like Braden's not doing too well. So I think he looks like he had some type of, maybe a panic attack. I'm not sure, but want to go into the Todd Bowles game management. So up to this point, his game management, I thought, was on par. It was actually improved. Like, he did a lot of things where it was the right decisions, good calls, going for it on fourth down, being aggressive. But in this game, I didn't think it was a good one from him. Especially, let's pull it up here. The 4th and 2 decision, that wasn't good. So here's the drive. You get a 2-yard run, 6-yard pass to Tucker. It's 3rd and 2 here. Pass to Sterling Shepard probably should have been caught. It wasn't. But at that same time, you got to go for it there on 4th down and 2. Like, your defense hasn't shown the ability to get stops at all. You just gave up 5 touchdowns to Josh Allen, and there was just no signs of finding ways to get get them to punt the football back to you. So you needed to be aggressive there. You needed to find a way to go for it and try to take the lead. And that was the decision where it kind of brought a flashback of what we've seen in the past with Todd Bowles and his inconsistencies as far as going for it. And, like, that is something, like, he probably wants to have back, I'm sure. But yeah, it just wasn't the right decision. You have to play to win the game. And he just didn't do it in that scenario. Like, that was just not a good sign. Trying to think of what else, but yeah, I mean the sideline emotion, I mean, he hasn't shown that, and I understand that. Like, you got to have some energy, but I think Todd is definitely a different person behind closed doors. We've all heard that, but yeah, definitely it could be better. He's just not you're not going to get Bruce Arians from him. That's just not who he is. He's going to take it in under a different light, but yeah, the decision making just wasn't good on that play. You got to go for it. Your offense, is the key to getting the win here. You got to extend and try to go score a touchdown, and you had the opportunity there, and there was just no guarantee you were going to get the ball back. So I thought they should have went for it, but it happened. Trying to see what else. Yeah, KGH for life. Yeah, I mean, that could be the case. We could be in the middle. We could be in the middle of a kind of Tony Dungy type thing where Bucs keep making the playoffs. We keep finding ways to get into the playoffs because of the division. It's a weak division. The Bucs are still in first place. The Panthers are creeping up, though, at 6-5. But yeah, that could be a thing. Could be another kind of Tony Dungy-esque where just couldn't get over that hump, couldn't get to the championship game or the Super Bowl with the talent that he had around him. And maybe that happens with Todd Bowles. Just can't find a way to put everything together. And it sucks because of the injury luck that hasn't gone our way. It sucks because of the lack of proven pass rushers that we just don't have on this team. I know Yaya Diaby is having a good year, but at the same time, he's been on 4 sacks since the 49ers game. Like, you got to be consistent. You got to find ways to affect the quarterback. And it just can't all be about the blitz. Like, you got to be able to rush with 4. And not having Reddick, that's a huge loss. Not having David Walker is a huge loss. But yeah, there was there was some controversial ref decisions. I don't know if you guys, there was 2 bad ball spots as far as the K-Dot and catch on, I think it was 3rd and 8 or something like that. He gets the first down. They end up calling it short. Thankfully, we punted and we forced a fumble and got the ball back, end up scoring. And then there was one earlier, I think it was on the Bucs' first touchdown, the Baker Mayfield run on 4th and inches. Should have been 1st and goal. Rachaad White got the first down. Like, yeah, so there's some questionable refs, questionable ref calls. The Logan Hall roughing the passer was definitely not roughing the passer. So that was definitely something to look into. Yeah, I mean, injuries suck. I mean, not having Kalijah Kancey, that's a huge loss because he was playing so well, especially against Houston. He was having a really good game and then gets injured. But at the same time, guy's been injury prone. He's got to stay healthy. So I think that is something that has to be better. Yeah, the virtual measurements do not work. And this is a great point by KGH for life. I think this is what I was talking about yesterday with Mark as far as Jason Light goes. They got to be more aggressive. Like, I know you love your draft picks, but not finding a way to go get a proven pass rusher like you did with Jason Pierre-Paul. And I know that was like the alignment of stars because you got him for a 3rd round pick. You got him on a good contract. And he fit your team culture wise and all that. But that's something this team is missing. They're missing an ass kicker up front. You need guys that demand more and find a way to win and kind of be that consistent threat. And that's just something they just don't have right now. And that's why I think Jason, at times, he's done a fabulous job as far as drafting, building the roster. But I would like to see him be a little bit more aggressive, especially when it's giving up some draft capital to go out and, get a proven guy. But I know it takes 2 to tango, so it's tough. It's tough there. Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I don't understand because they can't get it right. The replays don't work. So I don't know what's going on with the officiating. It's been bad throughout the league. I'm going to try and see if I can, let me see if I can bring up some different things. I want to go into, yeah, we already talked about this, talked about the inconsistencies. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think the Bucs will finish down the stretch? I know we got 7 games left. We have the Rams coming up this week, and then we have a stretch of Arizona, New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, Miami, and then Carolina. Realistically, the Bucs should win all 6 of those games, except the Rams. I don't think we're going to beat the Rams this week. But I mean, schedule does line up nicely yet again for them. I want to bring this back up, but yeah, I mean, I see 5-2. Yeah, I see 11-6. I agree with that. I think 11-6 should be their minimum. I think that should be in play for sure. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be very upset if we lose any of these division games. That's all I'm going to say. Because this division isn't good, guys, and you guys know that. Let me see if I can pull up the standings. That's what I want. But yeah, I mean, you look at this division again. We're the leaders at 6-4, but look how bad. Look how bad the other three teams are. Negative 42 point differential, negative 44, negative 95. It's not good. And I know the Panthers are coming on, like they're 6-5, but most likely they're going to lose. They're going to lose a couple games coming up. They still have the Rams, Niners, and Seahawks left, plus some other games, plus the games against us. So they're pretty much out of it. Falcons, they're down to Kirk Cousins yet again. Michael Penix is probably out for the year, so they're not looking too hot. Saints are, obviously in rebuilding. But yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, don't let Bryce Young throw for 400 yards. But I agree with you guys. I think 5-2 is definitely on par. But as we see here in the inconsistencies of this team, the injuries, factor in. I think all of that plays a part. So we'll see how they turn things around and hopefully get better. But I will lay it out for you guys. Here is the keys. Baker Mayfield has to play consistent. He has to be better. It's got to be accurate and make the plays that are there. I think it starts with him. I think Josh Grizzard needs to continue to utilize the run game like he did this past week and other weeks. Continue to utilize the run game. Be creative with it. Utilize play action more. Utilize your 21 personnel. And hopefully with the return of Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, maybe Jalen McMillan down the stretch, Mike Evans, that will open up the offense more for you. Allow Baker to be more consistent. Just have to be better on that side of the ball. You got to find ways to put up points consistently. Defensively, it comes down to two things. Got to find ways to affect the quarterback more, and you got to not allow these big plays for touchdowns. Like that's got to stop. Allowing 11 touchdowns of 25 yards or more, just that can't happen, especially 6 in the last 2 games. That's something that's got to end. And then I'm trying to think of, but yeah, I mean, we're 6-4. The season is not over. I think a lot of people were panicking yesterday. I was upset that we lost because I feel like you have everything you need to win. It's just guys doing their assignment. And for whatever reason, we just continue to have those mess ups. And that's what I'm kind of concerned with. Like, there's guys on this team that have been here, but it's players that we've seen make these plays, like make the plays for the Bucs. They're just messing up at the worst time possible. And that's got to get fixed. Like, coaching has to be accountable. Special teams, like, just can't have those mess ups. Accountability needs to be put into action, especially with special teams, kickoff coverage, kicking game. All those things have to be on point and can't have these, returns going off for almost touchdowns. Just can't have that. Got to be a lot better. Yeah, Logan Hall. Logan Hall, I thought, I'll have to look at the tape. I thought he did okay, but at the same time, I don't agree with the roughing the passer. But of course, it was him, right? Of course, it was him. Yeah, I'm just looking at split with the Panthers. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, they're definitely not good. Seahawks. Yeah, I mean to beat the Seahawks, that was a good win. The Rams, yeah, let's go into, I guess we can go into the Rams game and then pretty much going to wrap it up. Again, apologize, it was just me for most of this. We'll have to get Mark. Maybe we'll do a live stream later in the week. But when you have kids, got to take care of them first. So I understand. Yeah, looking at the Rams is going to be a tough matchup. Matthew Stafford is having a heck of a year, really good quarterback. He's got 27 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Offensively, they're just really smart. They utilize play action a bunch. That's something the Bucs have struggled against as far as in coverage. They know how to attack the middle of the field. They have Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kieran Williams, who's a really good running back. Offensive line is pretty good. And then defensively, they don't give up a lot. You know, they're smart. They force turnovers. They get after the quarterback. So it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. And there's a reason they're 8-2. So playing them on Sunday Night Football. Also, you have to factor in the Bucs on primetime. Not a good recipe. So that is something that, yeah, I don't see it going well. This is probably a game where hopefully we can make it competitive. Hopefully we can keep it close, which I'm sure we will. But at the same time, I kind of see it where the Rams kind of pull away late and win the game in that fashion. I'm hoping we have a chance, but it's going to take a lot. You're going to need Bucky Irving back. You're going to need Godwin, and you're going to need a good Baker Mayfield performance. He's going to have to play sharp. He's going to have to play like he did against the Seahawks. I think you're going to have to have a similar type of game plan where they utilize play action a lot. Defensively, you're going to have to find ways to get turnovers. That's going to be the key. But yeah, it's going to be tough. Adams are a red zone. Yeah, Adams is really good. Hardcore hero. Yeah, the chunk plays. That's been the killer. That has been the killer. We definitely win the Patriots game if you don't allow those. You give yourself just more opportunities to take control of the game. And when you give up those big plays and give touchdowns in that instance, that's just a momentum buzzsaw right there. It just kind of kills you because 1 minute you have the lead and then the next it's gone because you give up such a big play and so quickly. So that's something that, yeah, they got to get it corrected. Yeah, Mark, we'll definitely have to, maybe we can get you on and the other Mark on at the same time. That would be funny. Yeah, Sean Tucker, I thought played well. And again, they utilized him the right way. I would love to see him get the football more. I would love to see him, Bucky, and Rashad all get touches in some way. I think Rashad, the main thing for him, he's got to be more a pass catcher, and I think you got to get him the football out in space. They did some, I think. Let me see if I can pull up the get back to the stats. I think Rashad had maybe 2 catches. Let me see. Yeah, Rashad had 2 catches for 11 yards, but he's got to get more targets. I think that's something where you got to get him the football, especially in space. That has to be a important thing moving forward because he's open a lot in the flats. Like he's got to be more of an emphasis. Him, Bucky, Sean all have to be involved, I think. And we saw some things where they utilized Rashad in a fullback position. They utilized Sean Tucker, on outside runs. Rashad White as well, utilizing Sean Tucker as a decoy. So there's a lot to be impressed with. It wasn't all bad. And again, we'll go through the tape, guys, as the week goes on. And be sure to check out our Substack. If you're not subscribed on there, be sure to, go check out our Substack. Join if you want to join for exclusive content. We'll have more film studies up. We'll put some film studies up on YouTube as well. Be sure to join our memberships that we have available up on YouTube. So you can do that and get more exclusive content. So yeah, got a lot of stuff coming. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting week. I think tomorrow, if you guys follow John Ledyard, I'll be on his podcast tomorrow for the Bucs edition, the Audibles and Analytics. So be sure to check that out. I'm really excited about that. We'll definitely talk a lot about what we discussed and probably even more. But there's just got to be a lot of things better with this team. I think defensively, just gotta be better. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's you gotta keep these guys to their strengths and don't force Bucky into being the workhorse. You gotta be able to you gotta be able to utilize him in certain ways and protect him too. Like you can't get him beat up, can't allow him to take too many hits. And I'm fine with getting him touches, but at the same time, you have good running backs. Utilize them in different ways. Oh, that's awesome, man. I hope you enjoy. I heard that stadium is pretty cool. I heard it's one of the best stadiums, actually. So that's going to be pretty awesome to see it live. So hopefully they get a win. Hopefully they pull it off. That'd be great. If they do win, then you got to go to every game. You got to go to every game. Yeah, no, I completely agree there, Mark. I think that's something they gotta improve. All right. Well, I think let me make sure I went over everything. Yeah, I think Todd Bowles, I think Todd Bowles has to be better with the communication aspect. I think he's got to be better with the game management part of it. Got to know when to go for it on fourth down, and you got to be more aggressive. I think defensively, the identity needs to be one way. And if you're going to be aggressive with your blitzes, play that way, but play aggressive coverage behind those blitzes and try to attack the football. And I think that's something that he's got to get across to certain individuals. I'm looking at Zion McCollum. I'm looking at Antoine Winfield. Like, you got to utilize these guys and let them play to their strengths. Got to build a scheme around that. If you're going to get beat by the big play, go down swinging by being aggressive and getting guys' faces. I think that's when you gotta do that. And then offensively, you just gotta execute at a higher level. So hopefully they can start doing that. They got to play consistent, play complementary football. That's what the team is missing right now. It seems like when one phase is doing well, the other phase just shits the bed. And then special teams, same thing. So got to pick it up in all three levels. And hopefully we see that soon when guys get back healthy. But just seems like when we start to get healthy, more guys get injured. And I'm kind of afraid to see what the injury report's going to look like this week, because Todd Bowles talked about more guys being injured. So not a good sign there. But again, appreciate everyone in here. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Again, appreciate all the support. I apologize if I kind of rambling on here, but we'll definitely have to probably do another live stream later in the week, get Mark back on here, and so he can give you more of his thoughts. I was kind of a one-man show, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It was good talking with all of you. I want to try and see if there's anybody. If you have any other questions, feel free to bring them up now. We'll talk about it. Krillin. Yeah, Krillin, you're awesome, man. Yeah, the ball never lies, never does. Mark, good night to you too as well, man. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone in here, everyone that joined in on YouTube. You guys are awesome. Be sure to, again, check out our Substack, check out our YouTube memberships. And I think with that said, I'm going to take my butt on out of here. I hope you guys enjoy it. Enjoy the night. Have a great week. And hopefully we can get back to winning ways, winning football for our Buccaneers. But with that said, everyone take care, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.